I was born, like I told you, in 1929, which happens to be the same year as Anne Frank, but we had completely different backgrounds in the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So when the war started in 1939, I was in Poland, and Poland was invaded by the Germans in about 10 days. Poland was defeated. The part of Poland where I was born was taken over by the Russians, the communist Russia at the time. So it was divided in half. Half was Russia and half was Germany. We were really lucky that it was Russia because they didn't pick on Jews particularly. They did take businesses away. They took material possessions away because it was a communist country. So my father at the time lost his business, but we still had our apartment, and I went to school for about 2 years. In 1941, June of 1941, the Germans invaded Russia, and our city was taken over by the Nazis. And that's when the trouble for the Jews started. The first thing they did, within days of occupation, we had to wear yellow stars in the front and in the back of our garments. We had to walk in the gutter. We weren't allowed to walk on the sidewalk. And of course, no school, no nothing. And that was till June, July, August, September 3rd. And I remember the date. We looked out the window and we saw our neighbors and other Jewish people walking with packages, with their belongings, with suitcases. So what happened? Where are they going? They're going to the ghetto. So where is the ghetto? There was a Jewish section in Vilna. That's the city where I was born, where, poor Jewish people lived, and there was kosher butchers there, the real Jewish section. They, overnight, they killed all the people that lived there, which were mostly, poor Jewish people, and took them to a place it's called Ponari, which is a famous killing place.
Mm-hmm.
To empty the place so that the people from all over the city could go into those few streets. So you can imagine thousands and thousands of people trying to get into those few streets. And by the time we got there with packages, and prior to that, when they told us to get out of our apartment, the Gestapo with guns came into our apartment and said, "You have 10 minutes to get out." So where are we going? We didn't even know where we were going. They say, "You're going to the ghetto." I said, "What ghetto? What are you talking about?" Anyway, I remember my mother putting a blanket on the floor and she just throw things in there so we can take it with us and go wherever they take us. And I remember it was September, and it was hot, and my mother said, "Put on your winter coat." I said, "Mom, it's so hot." She says, "It'll come in handy," and sure enough, it was a good thing. I had a summer dress and a winter coat, and whatever you could put on yourself and carry with you. Thank you. And then we saw people from all over the city getting into this few streets. And when we got there, everybody was like exhausted. They didn't know what to do. And we slept somewhere, I think in a storefront overnight. And in the morning, we started looking for a place, someplace to sleep. And we saw our neighbors. They said, there's some room, and there's a double bed. There's still room for 2 people. And, 4 women would sleep on it. Anyway, somehow we got through and found a place to stay. And under similar conditions, we stayed in ghetto for 2 years. The man went to work every morning outside the ghetto, and some women too, depending on whether I was 12, so I was too young. So they started some kind of a school, and that didn't work. And I remember there was a lady, she was a former teacher. So my mother says, I'll pay you, I'll give you food, but teach her something. So, so that was my schooling.
Oh my gosh. What kind of jobs did the men have that they left for? Was it their own jobs that they had before?
No. Not at all. Maybe a lawyer would dig ditches.
Oh my gosh.
Completely different. Whatever they
wanted you to do.
They wanted, yes. So that was for 2 years. And it was, so many people in such a small area. So, of course, they were afraid of epidemic of the sicknesses. So they would, every so often, they would take a few hundred, or under any pretense, they sick, they limping, they killed them. And they took them to this Panari, what I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
And at night, we would find out, during the night, the Gestapo came and took away a few hundred Jews from here, from there, but you never knew. You were afraid to go to the hospital, because the hospital was the first place they would take people that are not able to work, or this kind of stuff. Anyway, so what was I? Yeah, so we were there like 2 years, and this was 1943.
Mm-hmm.
And the Germans decided to make Vilna, our city, Judenfrei. That means free of Jews. They kill everybody. But they did need some people for work that they thought were useful for the government or whatever. And my father worked in a place where they repaired cars and stuff like that. So they said, well, this company, the people that work for this company, will open up a labor camp for them. So we were lucky that they took us by truck to a labor camp. The labor camp consisted of two big houses, and that were, before the war, they were for homeless. So there was no running water, there were no toilets inside, there were outside toilets. But we felt very lucky that we didn't go to Punari to be killed, that they took us there. And the men worked, and the women worked, and I was already 14 at the time, so I worked in where they were sewing repairing socks and whatever from the army they would send. And my mother worked in the laundry, so they would wash it there, and then we would sew it. The men would repair cars, machinery, whatever. And that was for 1 year. At that point, it was 1944, and we heard from the Polish people that worked with the Jewish people, hey, we were not allowed to have radios or newspapers or anything like that, so we only heard, from other people that the Germans are losing the war. So that was good news. So what will be with us? I mean, they'll kill us before they retreat. And sure enough, my father was working outside the camp, and this Polish man said to him, things are really bad for you guys. They're gonna kill you. Because the Russians are really close to to Vilna. And hide, run, do something. So my father quickly, when he was outside, went into the camp, and he said to my mother and me, the guard at the camp right now is drunk. And there's only one guy at the gate. Just go. So in a summer dress, my mother in a summer dress, and I had wooden shoes. He says, just go, and go to a man by the name of Nikolai, his name was. He was a co-worker with my father, and he took a liking to my father. And he says, Sam, whenever you're in trouble, I'll hide you. And I live only like 2 blocks from the camp. So my father explained to us, basically, that Nikolai lives in this house with a porch, and he'll hide you. So my mother and I, we walked, and I remember my mother says, smile, smile, because Jewish people were so sad that we didn't smile. So smile, we try to artificially smile.
Yeah, my gosh.
And we did find the house, and we find Nikolai sitting on the porch. And we woke him up, and we told him who we are. And he said, oh my God, did anybody see you coming here? I said, no, I don't think so. We don't think so. So he opened the cellar door and threw us in there. And my mother and I, we stayed there till it got dark. And all of a sudden, which I'll never forget, like the door of the cellar opened and my father came. He was able to run away, and he knew where we are. And he was as pale as a ghost, shaking. I'll never forget that. He says, I ran with all the other people that kept running, and they were shooting at the people. So whoever was shot fell right on the ground, and who made it? And my father, some luck, made it. And then we stayed in that cellar for about 5 days, until they were bombing the city, and the Germans were leaving and the Russians were coming, and we were in the cellar. We didn't know what was going on, because they were bombing the city. So Nikolai took his wife, and I think he had 3 children, to go out outside the city, in the farms. where they weren't bombing. And he says, I'll come back. You just stay there. And he says, I'll be back in about a day. And before he left, I remember he left us a big bowl of boiled potatoes. He says, that should keep you going for a day or two, which was fine. But he was away for like 5 days. And all we had this bowl of boiled potatoes and 2 buckets of water, one to drink and one to go to the bathroom. Somebody says to wash. I said, who was thinking of washing?
Right.
You know, you just do your basic necessities.
Yeah.
And then 5 days later, Nikolai came with his family. They opened the door wide. You can come out, you're free. The Russians are here. And the first Russians we saw, I think we hugged him. Thank you for liberating us. And then we walked around and found some other people that survived, and, you know, then life went on. But this was the basic.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
That's incredible.
That's incredible.
What a story.
Oh my gosh.
You heard it a million times.
You know what? Every time I hear something new, though.
Yeah.
I didn't know the boiled potato story.
Oh,
I didn't know that.
yeah.
I thought there was just food in the basement.
The what?
I always thought he just left food in the basement, like fruits and vegetables.
No.
I didn't know.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I mean, the whole population was not in good shape.
And it's amazing that your family was able to stay together.
Yes.
The 3 of us.
Yes.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
so many of the stories and testimonies that we've already shared with the students,
Yes.
you know, so many families were ripped apart.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is,
I mean, my extended family was killed.
okay.
You know, my other sister, my nephew. But the 3 of us
Hmm.
was amazing
Right.
that we stayed together.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just like need a moment to like decompress. When you were in the ghetto, like what would a typical day look like for you as a 12-year-old, 13-year-old
That's
girl?
funny. That, a lot of people ask me that. Well, first of all, they try to pull a school together, which never materialized. So we didn't go. We ran to the school of, the teacher was killed last night. I mean, you know. So that schooling was very, very
Limited.
limited.
Yeah.
The main thing, which I don't think anybody would really, we stood in line. And they always sent me because I wasn't a good cook or anything. You know, I was 12 years old. So my mother would say, go stand in line. I think they're giving bread. Go stand in line. I think they're giving butter. So all my days I stood in line.
Oh my gosh.
And when I came, they said, well, what did you get? What did they give? Sometimes nothing, sometimes potatoes, sometimes.
Yeah.
And also, you didn't get enough to eat what you wanted, but my father was going out to work. So, like he gave somebody his wedding ring, and for that, he'd say, a whole month I'll supply you with, let's say, potatoes or carrots or something. And my mother, she had a winter coat or whatever, and she sewed like a pocket in there so he could hide it. Because when you came back from work, you weren't allowed to bring anything.
Oh.
But he had hidden potatoes or carrots or no eggs.
Hopefully not.
That would have been a little mess.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And many times I would stand by the gate and wait for my father to come, and I said, what'd you get? What'd you get? What do you have? What do you have?
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. Ugh. Did you have a lot of friends that you made? Like, were you there with other girls that were your age that you were?
Oh yes, oh definitely.
Were they friends from before?
From before,
Okay.
a new friend.
Mhm.
You know, he saw a girl your age and started talking.
Oh, that's all. At least. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna look at the questions that the kids have.
So the kids wrote questions, Mom. That there's
Okay.
clear.
Yes. So. Okay. What was one of the first things that you did once you realized that the Russians had liberated the city and you guys were, you were free to go back to living life as you should?
Yeah,
What was one of the first things that you remember doing?
take a bath.
Oh my gosh. Oh, it's crazy how those small things can just feel like monumental.
Then this Nikolai's wife was so nice when we came out of the cellar, and I'll never forget that bath.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Now, Nikolai was a German.
No,
No, he was
Polish.
Polish. Yeah, okay.
Did you stay in Poland?
Well, that's another story. We stayed until the end of the war.
Okay.
And then, since we were Polish citizens, before the war, we were legally allowed to go to Poland. Sibilna was Russia.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Poland
right.
was also under the Russian occupation or
Mhm.
domination, whatever you want to call it. But it was a little freer. You could have your own small business. You could. So, and my father, as much as we were grateful to the Russians for liberating us,
Mhm.
he was not a communist. He didn't want to be in a communist country. And I remember him saying, we survived, and let's think of the future and not be in a communist country if we can possibly avoid it. So we went to Poland, and there was a group of they had, I don't know even how to explain it. They had a Jewish community, not community, but like some even guys came from Israel, everything illegally, to see what they can do with the Jews that survived.
Oh,
And they formed DP camps, which stands for Displaced Persons, which wasn't only for Jews. It was also for people that simply didn't want to go to a communist country.
Mhm.
So we ended up in Austria and stayed there for almost a year. Until in a displaced person camp. And one day there was a American soldier. He looked like an American soldier in uniform, and he spoke Yiddish, spoke Jewish.
Mhm.
We didn't speak English, so he stood. It was like, remember a bridge? I took you there after the war, and on that bridge he stood in his American uniform, speaking Yiddish. He says, "You'll understand me. If you have any relatives in the United States and you want to contact them, if you give me a letter for them, I will, my mail will go faster through the army than yours from DP camp." So my mother quickly wrote a note to her brother, who she knew lived in New York City. And she says, "Dear Misha," whatever, what was his Russian name, my husband and my daughter, we survived. we don't have anything. We were nothing. We're in the DP camp in Austria. The city is Bad Gastein, which was a beautiful resort place, by the way. And within weeks, we got an affidavit from him to come to the United States. But imagine, Michael Gordon, New York City. That was all she knew.
Oh my gosh.
And it got to
It got to
That
him.
is incredible. That really is. In a city that big with that many people. Oh my
Right.
gosh.
And in June of '46, we came to the United States. And my mother's brother, Michael Gordon, had a factory in Sinking Spring. And that's how we are in Reading.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
That's incredible.
It
Yeah.
really is.
A long way around.
Right. Right.
How did your mom's brother, how did he end up over here in the United States?
He came before the war.
Okay.
He was quite wealthy in Europe.
Okay.
And he and his wife and 3 boys, when they were little yet, decided to move to the United States. And he was in stocking business in Europe. And he brought his business here.
So this is long before the war started.
Not that long,
Not that long,
maybe
okay.
2 years.
Oh my gosh.
But the United States had a quota, and the quota was very small. But if you had money, and you said that you're not going to be dependent on the government,
Mm-hmm.
you could get in easier. And he was, like I say, quite wealthy, and he bought a factory in Sinking Spring, and that's
That's here
a
we
long
are.
way around.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Have you've been to Israel, right?
Pardon
You
me?
have been to Israel?
Oh, yeah, many times.
Yeah, I was thinking that we talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah, because actually we were thinking of going to Israel.
Yeah.
But Israel wasn't open to the Jews until 48,
Wow.
Mm.
and we came here 46.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Mm. So that man on the bridge, you were there at the right time to hear him.
Yeah.
That invitation.
Yeah,
That
my
was-
gosh.
there weren't so many people around him.
Wow.
Wow, I know. Oh my gosh. Like full chills.
But can I just?
Yes.
So the Nikolai, I mean, he was very brave. Wouldn't you say Nikolai was very brave
Yes.
as a non-Jew? He would have. His whole family would have been killed if the Germans knew.
The Germans would have
Right.
killed him.
So
if-
you were so appreciative of
Mhm.
him.
Mm-hmm.
He took, like in Israel they have a garden of, what is it called?
Yad Vashem, did you?
The Yad Vashem. In English, righteous Gentiles.
Righteous, yeah. Who helped Jewish
Who
people.
help Jewish people, like
By
this
the
Nikolai.
ship.
Unfortunately, I don't know his last name. And just Nikolai, I mean, that's,
Yeah.
And did you ever have any communication with him
my parents.
after?
My parents did, but not since we came to the United States. And I don't know what happened to the address. You know, I don't know. But no, they didn't.
That was before the days of the internet.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Before Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know his wife's name. I don't even know his last name.
But you're right, they were righteous,
They were
righteous
Yes.
people. They put their lives on the line
They sure did.
to save.
Sounds like Meep Crailer.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yes.
He was your meep and crailer.
Yeah, and the
From
Diary of
Anne
Anne
Frank.
Frank, they were the helpers, the people that brought them the supplies while they were in hiding.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
they were and
Kept them alive for as long as they were.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So everybody has a story, you know. It's always different.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. One of our students' questions, just was really thought-provoking. She says, so while we're teaching the Diary of Anne Frank, there's a specific quote that really we kind of asked them to think about a lot. And she says, in spite of all things, I still believe that people are really good at heart. So despite everything that she's gone through, she still looks at the world with like the glass half full. So as you move forward with your life after the Holocaust, our students are wondering, did your perspective on life change? And what did like the experience, was there like, did it change your perspective on life?
Probably.
Yeah. I feel like it's hard not to.
Right. Well, and being the same age as Anne, those are primitive years of your life.
Yeah.
Like you essentially.
But I have in my memory, I remember. But you remember it differently than maybe if my mother would tell you the story.
Right.
She would say it differently, from her perspective.
Right.
How she had to cook and couldn't,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's face it, you live in such tight quarters. And I remember there was always fighting in the kitchens between the Jewish women.
Sure.
Which I had nothing to do. I was a kid. But no, this is my fire. No, this is this is my water, my pot.
Oh my gosh.
Everything was shorter.
Is that what your mom's role was? Was that kind of her job, the cooking?
Well, my father came from work. She always wanted to have something warm.
Oh.
My biggest dessert was a raw carrot.
Oh my gosh. Dessert.
Or if there was butter, a piece of bread and butter and sugar on top.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I could see how that could be a delicacy.
A lot of kids still nowadays like that.
Yes. I was going to say, I'm like,
My son still loves that.
But I didn't get it every day. That's when we
No.
if he brought it.
This was a special treat.
But
Yes.
getting back to that was a good question, but as her daughter, you look at people as good people. I don't think it affected you as the way you see people as bad.
No.
Yeah. I mean,
No,
you're so positive.
Oh,
I think that was,
it's a different world. It's a different
Yeah.
world.
but I think you did
Well, I
have some
haven't
people
forgiven.
who, no. But I think other people were more, from what I saw, more affected than you. They became like very angry all the time.
very jaded because of their
No,
experience.
But you
But I
did
wouldn't. I
resented.
wouldn't go back to Germany.
no, but you didn't become an angry person,
No.
or you became very
no.
appreciative of living in this country.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been to Israel. Have you been to Poland and Austria where you...
Yeah, once. Yeah.
What was that
In
like?
fact, Corinne went with us to Austria.
We did Austria.
Oh my gosh. What was that like going back? Was it really difficult to be there, or was it?
It's so different, It's so some people don't know what you're talking about.
Oh. I think those, yeah. I think those are the main questions that we had over there. But
Did your parents bring anything? Did anything survive? I know you mentioned your father's wedding band that he was.
No, he sold it for food.
food.
So nothing survived from your family from before the occupation. I wouldn't think so. I would think you would have, you were struggling to survive. I was just curious if there was anything at all that might have survived.
You mean like jewelry?
Yeah, like anything, whether, you know.
Like a picture or
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my uncle who lived here, he had a few pictures that we would send him. So that we have. Not too many. What else?
Well, the jewelry he actually buried. You want to tell that story?
But that's another long story.
Yeah.
That's a
and I'm
long,
sure you have many long
there's a lot.
stories. Yeah. No, this was fantastic.
Yes.
This was perfect.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure obviously going through it at the time,
it
was-
wasn't perfect.
no, it was not perfect,
Very far
but
from it.
in hindsight, there were some blessings.
No.
So,
I mean, just to show how cruel the Nazis were. Shall I tell them about their children?
Sure.
yes.
Yes.
One-
If you feel up to it. If you don't feel up to it, then you don't have to tell it, but.
One day, it was a normal day, everybody went to work. All of a sudden, a truck pulled into our labor camp. And they started looking for children and pushing them in the camp, in the thing,
In the truck.
in the truck. And we realized that they were just taking children. And their mentality was, they don't produce anything, they don't work, they just eat. What do we need the children here for? So they wanted to take all the children to Punari and kill them. And you can imagine the screaming of the mothers, the fathers, taking kids away. And I was at that time almost 15, and I was tall for my age. And they pushed me, tried to push me into the truck. And my father, stood next to me and had enough presence of mind, and he said, she's a worker, she's a worker. And he let me go.
But they did take a
They
truck
did.
full of kids.
Oh, a truck full of kids. It was like when the truck left, it was like you only heard like weeping and crying, the mothers, the fathers, and all of us. I mean, the kids, this one is gone, this one. Anyway, I just wanted to tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Polari. Am I saying that right?
Panari.
Panari. Was that a concentration camp or it was
No.
just a killing center?
A killing center.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
It's like a field. It was an outdoor
Yeah.
field.
Oh.
And the name of the ghetto was Vilna?
No, the ghetto was the Vilna. Oh yeah, Vilna ghetto.
Vilna,
I'm thinking of
yeah.
the labor camp.
Vilna ghetto.
Hakapeh was the labor camp.
Yeah,
Say that again.
Hakapeh.
it stands for something I never.
I don't remember either.
Yeah, it's okay.
Some German for. Sorry, I made you sad.
Oh,
It's-
no.
No,
But
it's history.
It's just, yeah.
It's truth. Yep.
And I'm 95 years old, and I was 12 when it started. So there are not too many left that can tell you the story.
That's why we're so appreciative that you're willing to. It is.
Yeah.
We hope you know how much we appreciate this
Thank
and how
you.
much our students
Because I think
appreciate.
of my friends, and this,
Well,
huh?
there. I was going to say about the 3G group.
The what?
The 3G group. So
Oh, yeah.
My kids and my nieces, they formed a group called 3G, so it's a third generation, and they're going out to schools and speaking.
Oh,
So,
oh my
yeah.
gosh.
So they're getting more and more active. So at
Right.
least the story can.
It's continue.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah, they
I know.
spoke last
So
Friday.
we were just at Exeter High School last Friday, and
You said the 3G group?
they're 3G out of Philly, and it's my niece who runs it.
Okay.
So if you ever need her information, I can get it for you.
Perfect. That'd be
Yes.
wonderful.
And she's in touch
awesome.
with,
That is so awesome.
oh God,
Jennifer.
with Jennifer.
Yeah, yeah.
And I saw some videos online because you had said just Google her name and
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
videos, maybe some of theirs.
We listened to the story
Yeah, we were
listening to some
today.
of the
Yeah,
stories.
there was like a 6-minute one, an interview with you.
Online, Mom.
Online.
When you Google, she
Oh.
just
Yeah.
gets cracks up on this.
That's beyond me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but we saw you on the internet and what you're saying about your niece. I remember you told me
Yeah.
about that. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I might have shared a video with you, or maybe I watched some of them and I thought she's still here though, but she's still
know.
here. Why not? If she's
Yes.
willing, if
No,
she's
that's-
yeah.
sure.
So we're
Yeah.
so grateful that you're willing to meet with them and allowing
Well-
them to videotape.
Yes.
I think it's important.
Yes.
It's important.
Oh my,
Yes,
so I was
it
gonna
is.
say this is a story I will never forget for the rest of my life. So I'm
The
just,
same,
yes,
really.
I'm just very grateful that you're willing to share this with us. So
And I'm glad that there are people like you.
I was just going to say, I'm sorry.
Oh, you said the same thing.
I was just thinking that.
Oh, you were thinking that.
Yeah, that.
That they're interested.
I'm like packing up.
Yeah, we were nervous
Oh.
Oh yes,
because
yes. Just
your story is very powerful.
Yes.
And, but you can feel yourself how lucky you are not going through this kind of thing. And I always say, God bless America.
Yeah, it really puts into perspective so many things.
You know, we complain,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still a
the best
wonderful
country.
country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. Okay. Good.
Oh, God.
Oh man.
I'm grateful to you for being interested
No.
and spreading it to younger people. That it's
Because
not
I don't know, is
forgotten.
it taught? It's not a. Is it really taught in schools?
It's
I
what?
think it's an elective, isn't it?
The history of the Holocaust is a high school course.
That's-
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but you have to take my son he's a junior. He is in U.S. history. AP. So advanced,
okay.
like AP U.S. history, you have to take first, and then next year he'll take
So-
the history of the Holocaust. And they actually do at Ole. They will get to go down to Washington D.C. to the museum and see everything.
And
So
that museum is just it's
Right.
incredible.
Powerful.
It really
Yeah.
really is.
we have not been there. I was lucky enough when I was over in Amsterdam, I was able to walk through the Anne Frank house.
Oh, you did.
So that was very powerful for me.
When were you there? Do you remember?
Was it 2016, 2017?
I think it was the summer before I started working at
It
Ole.
was.
It was
Yeah.
that summer.
And at that point, I wasn't teaching English. I was teaching social studies, but it wasn't anything that had to do with, World War II or anything. It was ancient civilizations. So once we started teaching this, and then we started doing the background on Anne Frank, and today I actually just shared with my honor students how I was able to go see the secret annex, and they had so many questions, and they couldn't believe that you can walk through the same rooms, and did you see her diary, and what was the most powerful part for you? Like, they were just they wanted to hear everything.
Yes.
So
The students they are extremely invested in learning about this, and it's really one of those things that's just incredible to see. Like I always, hope that every year the new students that we get in will be just as, invested and as impacted by her story as the year before. And every single year it ends up being like most of our students that we see after, and when they're in high school, like they're always asking, are you still teaching the Diary of Anne Frank? And I'm always like, yes, until I retire. That will never, that will never change. Like, I just think that it's such a powerful story to, for the students to learn about and to, help them develop empathy and, to learn, about kindness and, and what other people have gone through. And it's just, there's so many lessons to be learned. And like you said, appreciation for what, what they have.
Yes.
Because it's, it's sometimes hard for them to, put themselves in other people's shoes. And I mean, not that that's what's happening necessarily, but just learning about what they went through. It really impacts them, like watching them, and then we always end. So we read, because what we read it's the play version. So it's her story, but it's put into a play.
Yeah.
And then there's a movie that they have made that follows it, the play almost word for word. It's pretty incredible how great this movie is that plays along with it. And after we finish reading, they watch it, and not that it's incredible to see them get emotional, but it's like it like makes you as a teacher feel like like they're getting it, because you watch them get emotional towards the end, and it's just incredible. So
And they come home and they'll tell their parents or siblings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm going to change the subject, change a little bit, but I'm thinking about racism. They understand, they know the word racism, but in Ole, do they really understand it? This was anti-Semitism. That was the whole thing. Why? That I'll never understand, but that's a whole.
And the students ask that question.
I was just going to say, that's the big question right in the beginning is
why?
Why?
It dumbfounds them.
They don't understand why this was such a problem, we get a lot of that right at the beginning when we start teaching it.
And it's almost one of those questions. I was going to say, and when they ask that question, it almost makes me feel like, I don't want to say makes me feel good, but it makes me feel good that they're like, why? Like that they just don't understand.
Why did people treat people like that? Like
exactly, it just.
Why did they let this man, have this power and make these decisions? And
that's why it's so important. With dictators.
Well, we talk about that and especially this year with it being an election year, and we talk about like a president. Well, a president's not a dictator. We talk about the differences. And
but they can become.
You're right.
Things can change.
Things can change
Very quickly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Look what just happened in Amsterdam.
I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah.
They there was a soccer game between the Israeli team and another team, and after the game there was all these I don't know what they were.
Oh, you know what? I did see
I know.
When did that happen?
Just about a week or two
Yeah.
ago, maybe a week ago, and they were running them over with cars, throwing them in the cold water, kicking them, beating them, and the police were not stopping them. And even some of the taxi drivers, they thought they were getting away, were actually dropping them off at the places where this was happening. So, yeah. You didn't hear about that? Yeah. It's okay.
Just as
How about something to drink?
Yes. Do you want something to drink?
Sure.
You guys here, let me get you some water.
You know where
Yeah,
things are. I'm not so movable anymore.
You're 95.
I'm 95.
She's doing well.
Congratulations.
Yes, she
That is fantastic.
Thank you.
Let me see what's in here. There's
I just lost my husband 2
there's
months ago.
Sprite.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
So sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
How long were you? When did you guys get married?
We were married 73 years.
Oh my gosh,
Water's okay for me. Are you here?
that's incredible.
I never know what she does.
Yeah, that's my husband.
Do you want Sprite? Or some Sprite?
Whatever.
Club soda?
I
Anything.
still can't believe it.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever. They both said whatever.
Oh my gosh, what a great photo, you guys. Oh, that's a fantastic picture.
It was a few years ago.
I swallowed it already, but you can have it.
But a happy picture.
I was looking at that while you were telling your story.
Oh my
Is
gosh.
that okay to take pictures of the pictures?
10 great grandchildren.
10 great grandchildren. Oh my gosh. Oh, what a legacy. Oh my
They're
gosh.
cute. All three, all 10 of them.
Where was this taken?
On vacation, they were this Labor Day.
Oh, that's incredible that your family's all able to get together like that
Yeah,
and
yeah.
take trips. That really is
Thank you so much.
You got club soda.
Perfect.
Oh, lovely.
wonderful. Did you see it?
I was looking at it when she was telling her story. It
Yeah.
just resonated.
Five boys and 5 girls.
Mm-hmm.
And your husband died,
2 months ago.
I know it was recent, yeah.
What a beautiful family.
He was, I don't know if you, in any of the videos that you watched with Esther, but he was sent to England on the, what was it called, Kinder transport. So that's how he survived. His mother sent him, I mean, can you imagine? But she sent him to England so that he had a chance of survival, and the family died, right?
His father
Oh, yeah.
survived, but his mother.
His mother and three siblings.
Wait, so he
They were
was he
younger.
Polish then too?
He was German.
German,
He was born in
okay.
Germany.
Oh man.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I can't imagine the kind of strength that takes as a mother to
Yes.
Yeah.
to
As
send.
we always.
Well, but that was like one of the testimonies
Yeah.
that we read with the kids. She was sent.
Yeah, before we start the unit, one of the things that we have them do kind of a web quest of different things that one of them is that they learn about Miepke's and who she is, and the fact that Anne Frank's story probably wouldn't have it if it wasn't for the people that were bringing them the supplies and helping them. Another one that we have them listen to is we found a website that has 2 voice recordings of sections of their testimony, and the one talks about how they sent their son, I believe it's their son,
Yeah.
they sent their son to another country, and that was, I think, the last time that they ever that they ever saw their child, because they were just hoping to be able to save them and protect them from what was happening. Wow. But oh my gosh. Whew.
Yeah,
So
my daddy always said when his mother was packed in a little suitcase, he says, "You go and we'll follow." And then he was 10 years old. So he said he used to sat in the train, and the train goes fast. Oh my God, how is my mother ever going to find me? That was in his mind,
Yeah. Oh gosh.
But he had another story.
Yeah. So yeah. So my niece did put together 2 beautiful PowerPoint presentations. I don't know if that's what you saw on.
I do
Google.
remember seeing a PowerPoint.
Yeah. So one on my mom and then one on my. And Stacy, she did a great job with
She
those.
did a great job.
She actually took a class on how to
Do it.
do it and present to. Not just children.
I was just gonna say, does
yeah.
she just present to high school kids or?
No, I mean, I think mostly schools, I would say, but I think it's really for anyone.
Well,
Right.
Mostly school, but high school and junior
I mean, this
high.
Exeter was high school. That was the high school group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was
Have they
high
done? They have done for middle schools though,
I
or is it
think
mostly?
So. You know what she might, now Leah did. I mean, that was geared for middle school. She changed it a little bit. She could change it a little bit.
Right.
Okay.
Like she might leave out some.
Yeah, that was when I first came from teaching 8th grade and went to teaching 6th grade. I remember sitting down with Tiff and going through the materials that I had all geared towards 8th grade, because when I first started teaching 6th grade, I kept thinking 6 to 8, that's only 2 years. Like it's the same.
It's not.
It is not the
No.
same.
Yeah.
It is very far from the same
Isn't
in
that
terms.
crazy?
Yes,
Yeah. Years
it's just those formative years. Like there's
Oh.
just so much, maturation that happens between even 6th to 7th grade and 7th to 8th grade. But I remember sitting down and showing her the slideshow that I had, and Tiff being and her telling me, saying, no, we can't, like we have to, like bring it down a little bit. Because,
Right.
And when they get to high school, they can, they'll learn more of the like age appropriate details of what happened. But that was one of the first things that we did was sit down, and because she's been teaching 6th grade for much longer than I have been.
Well, and I have an elementary background, so she came from the top
came from
down,
high school.
and I came from the bottom up, and we met in the middle.
Yes.
So,
I taught the older grades, and she had the.
so we have a very good balance.
So did you graduate from Ole?
I did,
Oh,
yeah.
that's good.
So, and Jen was 2 years older. She graduated with my older sister.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then Jen's younger sister, Jamie, she's the gym teacher
Oh, really?
at Ole, so
Yeah.
we see her every
Jen is
day.
great.
Yep.
Yeah, she is.
Amanda
Here?
Hornberger. I don't know if she went to Ole. She took Jen's place after Jen left the position at
Was it Amanda
running.
Hughes?
No.
I don't remember
Okay.
her. I don't know, where's Amanda? Mom, Amanda Hornberger. She wasn't from Ole, was she? Or
I think so.
yeah.
The name doesn't sound
Yeah.
familiar. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Gosh.
Those candies are very good.
Yeah. And there's cookies.
Wow.
Gosh. Wow. Yeah.
Help yourself.
Oh, thank you. I do like chocolate. That's giggling.
Doves, aren't they?
Oh yes.
Chocolate.
Chocoholic. Why so am I?
I had a lot of these at lunch.
Do you know chocolate's addictive? You know that?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much.
I know from
Whenever it's
experience.
milk and
Mom, which is the dark and which is the
The
light?
red is the
dark
dark.
Oh, okay.
okay.
There's
The
like a
blue
little.
is the
I like
dark.
them all, but I'll-
No, the red is the dark.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
I have a lot of chocolate at lunch some days. Depends on how the day goes. Chocolate some days and others.
Well, this is how I learned it's addictive. One year when I had a student teacher, I would often get student teachers. I enjoyed their perspective and, being able to teach them in a sense. And so this is the point where the student teacher was teaching everything in my class. So I never used my desk because I was so busy with other things. I never used my desk. But when I had a student teacher, I could use my desk, and I would sit there and be listening to her and maybe taking some notes and multitasking and maybe doing some other things too. And I had a bag of Dove chocolate in my drawer. So when she would start the day, I would reach over and have one of those. And then the bag started to get empty, so I just got rid of the bag, threw that out, but I knew there were still some in there. And one day I reached in there, and I didn't find any, and I dumped it.
You knew that was that's funny.
I needed chocolate. Love it.
Oh my gosh.
I thought I could say that to a chocoholic. You would appreciate that.
You love your sweets, right, Mom?
Me too.
Oh, my God.
I got that from you.
Yes.
I'm a huge sweet tooth. Like I have, and my boyfriend is not at all. Like he is very,
Oh.
like he doesn't like to snack.
Oh.
And I'm always, and I don't like to snack a lot. So I'm like,
Yeah.
you don't want to snack? And he's like, no. And I'm like, okay, good. I didn't want to snack either. Then he's like, do you want me to have a snack with you? I would really appreciate it.
That's cute.
Oh my gosh.
Your boys are careful.
I know. Everybody in my family is but me. Andy's really disciplined.
Wow. I wish I knew what that was like.
I know. I was just thinking
Well, it's
that.
because of you being a dietitian.
Well, I'm retired.
It doesn't count anymore.
Oh my gosh.
Flowers look real. That just
So that
amazes me.
is a company. They are real flowers.
Are they wooden?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
are
what is, I forget
flowers.
the name of the company, and they last for a year or two.
Oh, that's incredible.
No
but they're
water.
actually nothing.
For a few years.
That's the kind
Wow.
of flower for me.
Yeah.
My house has fake
I
flowers
forget-
everywhere.
I forget there's a website. You can just look Forever Rose. There's a few of them out now.
No, but Sophie came from New York, and she looked at it as it's so popular in New York.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, they look beautiful.
And it's-
Yeah.
And they're real, but I don't know how.
there must be some
Science is
chemical in it.
amazing.
Yeah, exactly. But this was so pretty. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh.
So what do I do? Water once a week?
Sure.
I think so.
Yeah.
Is there a tag in there?
We look for a pretty vase and a pretty flower.
Yes.
So I'm not.
Yeah,
No, if there's a
You know what,
Yeah,
Nadia, I know
but-
what to do, Mom.
right.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be watered like every day or anything.
Yeah, I would
think
say
it's just
just-
like a house plant. So
It looks like. Oh, I thought this was a Christmas
I
cactus.
thought so too.
But it's a wider leaf.
it's some sort of a cactus
Yeah.
under here.
So that's
Oh,
certainly
so
what-
probably
yeah.
doesn't need too much water.
That's
No,
what I was thinking.
No,
I was gonna water
I
before we
think
came.
probably once a week.
I have a Ukrainian lady that helps me, and she is so
She has
good
such a
with
green thumb.
flowers.
with flowers.
Oh, she's amazing.
I love that.
She's just amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
she irons beautifully.
Wow.
Yeah, she's great. So,
She's
Thank you.
oh, sure.
Yes.
That was
Yeah.
very nice of you guys.
Yes, thank you. We really appreciate it. I cannot express our thanks enough for telling your story.
I'm glad I could help.
Yeah, and if you have any other questions, I can relay it to her.
Awesome.
Right, Mom? If they have more questions, I can relay it to you and you can answer them.
Sure,
Yeah, I was thinking as you were
as
talking.
long as I'm around.
Oh, Jesus. Mom.
You're going somewhere. This is lovely here. I wouldn't want to leave here.
Yeah.
No, it is. It's really
Yeah, this is
nice.
beautiful
This
here.
is a good place.
And you have a great
beautiful.
location. And you have a lot of friends.
I was gonna say, I'm like that. This would be incredible, especially having like your friends nearby and having. Oh gosh,
And
I
the
passed
view.
a library.
The view out the. Oh, I didn't see the library.
Yes,
Yeah.
I saw when we were walking by. I was like, I love reading,
Yeah.
so I saw the library.
And every night you have programs, pretty
Not
much.
every night.
But pretty much.
Yeah.
Like tonight you do, Shirley said 7:30 or something.
Oh, that's what you call.
Yes. 5:20 is
We
dinner.
call each other to remind each other.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh my
They
gosh.
try, but people complain. It's
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
you can't please everybody.
So I'm thinking when you said that the tech guy is going to, what's the word, edit
Yeah,
video.
Yeah.
that would be great if we could have a copy.
Oh my gosh,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
absolutely,
really
yes.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you have any pictures by any chance? I mean, I know it's, I don't, because he had asked, he said about if there's any photos of any of,
You mean from where?
Old photos.
even if they're, even like newer recent ones, that he had asked us to take, like while you're telling your story, he can pop the picture
Oh.
up
Yeah, yeah.
into, I don't know how he does
Well,
that.
where's your, so this is their, this was your 70th anniversary.
Oh,
picture.
wow.
Oh my gosh. Do you mind if I take a picture of it?
Oh, of